Now, last Sunday, we told you on this program that Senators Kipchumba Murkomen and Susan Kihika had been ostensibly fired by their Jubilee party boss, and we named their replacements. And as the story goes, Monday brought a divorce not lacking in the ugliness that was frankly to be expected. Reports indicate that more is lined up in the coming months, with President Kenyatta determined to clean house. Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju joins us now from his Nairobi home to discuss the future of Jubilee, and a very warm welcome back to Punchline, sir. Now, since we last spoke, there has been, as we've mentioned, an overhaul of the party leadership in the Senate. Now, whereas some have welcomed the move as an attempt to restore order in the party, others are saying that President Kenyatta and his close allies are specifically targeting Deputy President William Ruto and his allies. What's your response to that?
Well, I find that a strange conclusion, because in the first place, we have one party leader, President Uhuru Kenyatta. When you go to the House, whether it is the National Assembly or the Senate, and you represent him as the majority leader, you are representing President Uhuru Kenyatta. If you have problems with this government, I think it is untenable for you to continue to be the representative of the government in the National Assembly. I don't see where all these other politics come in.
All right. As the Secretary General of Jubilee Party, would you now say that all is well within the party?
We'd want everything to be well within the party, but even more important, we want things to be well in this country. We're going through a very difficult time right now with COVID-19. We are in a lockdown in Nairobi and in several other parts of the country. We have curfew and all that, all the steps which have been taken by the government. Our focus at the moment is really to deal with the country. But unfortunately, there are those who want to politic, despite the fact that the president has been very clear that let's leave politics until 2022, at least even to have some manners, let it wait until the second half of 2021. But some people are a little bit too impatient, and that is creating a bit of friction.
And those people you're referring to are the allies of the Deputy President, aren't they?
Well, whatever they do, they have never stated that they're doing it in the name of the Deputy President. When Senator Murkomen went into Senate and started shouting that what is wrong with this government, what kind of government is this, at no time did he state that he had been sent by the Deputy President. So that's why when he has to answer to the party on these issues, he answers as an individual.
Right, but that's on the floor of the House. But when they're out meeting people or on Twitter and online, and not just Senator Murkomen, but really the majority of those who are now referred to as Tanga-Tanga, they're very clear about who they're supporting.
Well, that's about 2022 politics, and that's something that the president did plead with all of us in Jubilee to refrain from. So basically, the person that they are disobeying is President Uhuru Kenyatta.
And whereas that is your position, many have argued that the Jubilee Party is not, in fact, as a governing coalition, paying attention to the national crisis that we are facing. Instead, what they're doing is cleaning house, reorganizing. We haven't seen Jubilee legislators speak with one voice regarding the issues that are facing the country. At least to the credit of ODM, we've seen them do that at the floor of the House. But whereas Jubilee is concerned, it's simply a house divided, isn't it?
Well, I've seen Minister Mutahi Kagwe and the other ministers in the Ministry of Health issuing statements virtually every day and monitoring what is happening as far as the COVID-19 is concerned. I think they're Jubilee ministers.
All right. We saw changes in the House Senate leadership. Should we be expecting the same changes in the National Assembly?
Well, we don't want our members of parliament to live in fear that there's going to be a purge against them. But we expect discipline going forward, because we can't have the situation which has been prevailing in the past to prevail. And that's why we've said that when it is necessary, we will go for recall where it is necessary. In the leadership in the House, if it is necessary to change them, we should expect those changes.
And what are these changes meant to achieve?
Well, we are going to face a very difficult time going forward, especially with the COVID-19 phenomenon that we have experienced in the last couple of months. And we don't know how long this is going to take. So we need singularity of purpose to be able to deal with the economic challenges that we're going to have to face because of the COVID-19. As we go through this challenge, we expect every hand on deck. We don't expect some people to be pulling us on the wrong way, campaigning for 2022, instead of dealing with the multiplicity of challenges that many Kenyans, if not virtually all Kenyans, are facing right now: unemployment, all kinds of economic challenges that we're facing, with a lot of businesses not working in the normal way that they've worked in the past. These are difficult times, and we want to spend our time facing these challenges, not business as usual in the political arena.
I hear you, SG, but those who are of the contrary opinion will say what you're clearly doing is shaping a Jubilee party where it is run in a dictatorial manner, that those who are of dissenting opinions cannot be heard, and that you're not doing this because of COVID-19. In fact, you are using COVID-19 as an excuse in order to be able to pretty much bring in the people who will toe the line in readiness for a BBI referendum and a 2022 lineup that suits your purposes?
You know, whatever we do, people will come up with their own analysis and their own translations of interpretation of what they think we're doing. But I can assure you that this president is very, very focused on making sure that this country recovers from the effects of COVID-19. Of course, there are those people who say that, okay, you know, to make the kind of changes that we made is dictatorial. But you cannot have a leadership in the Senate or in the House which is working at cross purposes with the government of the day. If you have that, then really is a recipe for chaos. So there must be discipline, especially as concerns the leadership. The leadership cannot afford to be working at cross purposes.
But Secretary General, if the main intention of this move was to deal with COVID-19, don't you think then it's curious that that would align with the announcement of the pact between Jubilee and KANU? Curious that that would happen at the same time?
The pact between Jubilee and KANU, we did have a pre-election pact and memorandum. In fact, in the House and in the Senate, members of KANU do even chair certain committees on behalf of Jubilee. They are really part of our coalition. That was there at the beginning, just before the elections. It should have been registered within 90 days of the time when the pact was signed. Unfortunately, there was an oversight, a clerical error, you can call it, and we had to formalize it for the future.
Where is the Deputy President, the Deputy Party Leader in all of this? Has he been consulted? Does he agree with these changes, or has he formally opposed them?
Well, I cannot comment on the relationship between the Deputy President and the President, because I know that naturally the two have to be consulting.
So are you saying that the Deputy Party Leader was consulted by the party boss before these changes were made?
I won't know.
Is the political marriage between President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto finally over?
Well, I've seen that in the papers, but he is Deputy President William Ruto is the Deputy President, and he has his space as the Deputy President. But in terms of their relationship with the President, have no capacity to really even comment on that.
What is the end game in all these political machinations? Is it for President Uhuru Kenyatta to extend his tenure beyond 2022, as has been claimed by some of his critics?
I don't know how many times President Uhuru has said that he's not interested in staying in office beyond 2022. He has said it on BBC, he has said it to Kenyans, but there are those who want to hang on to that when the President is committed to uniting this country. In 2017, during his inauguration, he said it very clearly that one of the things that he was going to work on extremely hard was to unite this country. And he's working hard on it. I mean, the handshake is unprecedented all over the world. I mean, the other day you saw even the politicians in the United States invited them just to go and explain how this came about. I was in South Africa, and I had an opportunity to talk with Cyril Ramaphosa. He told me to go and congratulate President Uhuru Kenyatta and Prime Minister Raphael for putting the country before their individual ambitions. The President bent over backwards to ensure that he accommodated the opposition and addressed the challenge that we faced in 2017. We had reached a situation in which people were beginning to imagine the possibility of secession. And this was in the public domain, on radio stations, on newspapers, and on television. So, you know, the very existence of the country was in jeopardy. And the President bent over backwards, became a statesman, and was ready to talk to the person who was his main opponent. I think I've lost the sound a little bit here. One of the, I think the, this,
we can still hear you, sir.
Earpieces have dropped. Maybe you have to work on that.
That's okay. We can still hear you quite clearly, and I hope.
Hear any sound. Okay, it's here. Hello, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you, and I hope you can hear me, sir.
Okay, fine.
All right, and we heard you.
I can hear you. Where do we take it off from?
All right, no, we've heard you loud and clear. Now, Senator Murkomen challenged on the floor of the House as his ouster was sealed that now that he is out of the way, he hoped that the president will finally deliver for Kenya. Now, it's no secret that Kenyans have been unhappy with the performance of the administration so far. And in our last interview, you said to me that Kenyans were, quote, impatient. Is it not true that the problem with Jubilee is not its noisy dissenters, but the fact that with the clock running, it is its record that is a far cry from what was promised?
Well, we do have an agenda, but I can tell you, Anne, no agenda can be achieved for any country when the country is not at peace with itself. In 2017, we had a very divisive elections. In 2018, in the beginning of 2018, we even had a parallel swearing of what they call the people's president. If we continued on that path, and if the president, for example, did not exercise the great wisdom of pulling back from Uhuru Park all the security people who are there, then we would be talking about a country which has experienced a bloodbath that would be with us for decades. So the first thing that Kenyans take for granted is that we have peace. And from there, we can build. Of course, unfortunately, a lot of adjustments are going to be made because of the COVID-19. And that's not only with respect to Kenya, it's with respect to the whole world.
Now, a section of those who didn't attend the State House meeting are now, through the media, pledging their loyalty to the party leader. Will the party still take disciplinary action against them?
Well, once the cases have gone to the disciplinary committee, and indeed our disciplinary committee is headed by a person who qualifies to be a judge of the High Court. That process is very methodological. They are free to go there with their lawyers. There'll be somebody who will actually prosecute the case, and they have to defend themselves. All the explanations that they're giving through the media is not useful. They should keep that information and take it to the disciplinary committee, and I believe that the disciplinary committee is going to be very fair. It is supposed to do the right thing. They don't answer to me. They don't answer to anybody. They answer to the party leader and the NEC.
You have talked about the purpose of the handshake, and it was to foster unity, but now it appears that it has left a house divided, which, as the saying goes, cannot stand. Now, while you may call it, cleaning house or aligning things in order to be able to push your agenda, this power struggle has certainly exposed and widened the rift in the party for all to see. Has President Kenyatta left himself exposed through the weakening of his own Jubilee party in full view of competitors?
And let me tell you something. When I hear from some of the party members saying, for example, that Tuju is a mole in the party, it is what I would call ethnic profiling. When I see members of parliament standing up and saying that they will only listen to a certain point of view, and you can see them congregating together on the basis of their ethnic affiliation, that is not the Jubilee we wanted to build.
But you cannot deny that the party wrangle certainly expose the weaknesses in the party. So how can you enter into coalitions right now from a weak position of internal struggle? Everyone else will certainly be bargaining for, if you like, more than they deserve.
I would say that the party exposes the ethnic dynamics in this country, so to speak. But I can tell you that the party, and I've said this before, and the president has said this before, the party cannot be more important than the country. And the unity of the party is important. We will work on the unity of the party. We will try to persuade people to come in. We will try to persuade people to look at our point of view and see it from the perspective that we are seeing it. But the most important is that we achieve peace in this country through inclusion, through making sure that even those who are not members of Jubilee can feel that they are part and parcel of Kenya.
And I hear your point about inclusion, but certainly there are those who are feeling excluded by the process. Now, you may bring in a host of parties, but they can only play the sub-position. Do you concede that Jubilee was strongest only with the mutual cooperation of the president and his deputy, and that without that playing out very publicly, your best days as a party are behind you?
I think our best days are coming. And I can tell you why. What we had was the beginning of the building blocks of a united Kenya. And unfortunately, that's how we saw it. But there are people who saw it as a ticket to the 2022 leadership. I think that I've heard the deputy president himself say that we were so concerned about bringing this country together that even if we lost the elections, it didn't matter. What was most important was to bring this country together. And I can tell you that if we achieve bringing this country together, then Jubilee will have done what is in the best interest of this country. And this president, that is one of his very, very important responsibilities, apart from, of course, the other thing that he promised the country, and that is to fight corruption. I mean, mega corruption was really runaway. It was undermining so many aspects of our development. And, of course, by touching on this, it may have touched some leaders the wrong way, but he has to be strong, and he has to proceed with that campaign that he had to make sure that corruption is reduced in this country.
Finally, SG, as we leave you, there have been reports that you're considering partnerships with Isaac Ruto, Kalonzo Musyoka, Ali Hassan Joho, and that these individuals are pegged for the top spots in a possible BBI coalition. My question to you is, are those reports in fact true? And if they are, where are the women?
We are trying to build a coalition with all Kenyans. And if the people you have mentioned are Kenyans, they're welcome.
Women are Kenyans as well. Where are the women? Are you trying to actively reach out to women leaders?
I think that is important that we reach out to women leaders, but I think it's also important that women leaders have to step forward.
Are you suggesting that the likes of Charity Ngilu, who is one of, I think, the more celebrated governors at this time, Martha Karua, both of these leaders having their own parties are, what, playing second fiddle, not stepping up?
They're welcome, and they have to step forward and be part and parcel of what it is that we're trying to build together, and that is to build a one united country.
Let me put it to you this way. It is reported that Jubilee is actively seeking out these male leaders. Why are you not actively seeking out women leaders? Why do they need to be the ones to sort of sell themselves, if you like?
I don't know why you come to that conclusion. We are seeking out so many people, and I can tell you that the women leaders are definitely part of our scheme of doing things.
Which ones in particular?
But it's happening. Come again?
Which ones in particular? You claim that you're actively reaching out to women political leaders. Which ones?
I think if you saw the last BBI meeting, well, the second last, which happened in Kitui, it is Governor Charity Ngilu who was the host.
And that is proof of perhaps coalition talks to formally incorporate her party?
Coalition talks and cooperation talks, there are two things. Coalition talks and cooperation talks are ongoing at this particular moment, and some of it is still very quiet, and it is not responsible of me to bring them into the public domain. But let me tell you, we are trying to reach out to all Kenyans, because a united country, a united Kenya is better for all of us.
Thank you very much for speaking to us this evening, the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, Raphael Tuju.
Thank you.
We're taking a short break. We're back with more on Punchline. Stay with us.